Uh, so we move on to the next uh, presentation, which is by Dr. Rajesh Harshvardhan. For this session, I'll request Dr. Anuradha Nishchal and Dr. Nitin Dutt Bharadwaj to kindly chair the session. Dr. Anuradha is professor in the Department of Pharmacology and Therapeutics at King George's Medical University. She serves as Deputy Coordinator for ADR Monitoring Center under the Pharmacovigilance Program of India and is the Member Secretary of the Pharmacovigilance and Casualty Assessment Committee at KGMU. Dr. Nishchal has held key positions including Superintendent cum Faculty in Charge of the Hospital Revolving Fund and member of the Institutional Ethics Committee. She has also been a resource faculty for the Medical Council of India's Regional Center for Medical Education, where we worked together for so many years. And additionally, Dr. Nishchal has authored numerous publications in various national and international journals. Uh, Dr. Nitin Dutt Bharadwaj is additional professor and is heading the Department of Hospital Administration at KGMU with over 20 years experience. He has served as Deputy Medical Superintendent of King George's Medical University and has also served as the National and State Assessor for Healthcare Quality. He is editor of Journal of Academy of Hospital Administration. He is an assistant editor of the book Applied Approaches in Hospital and Health Management, with contributions to 4 book chapters and 14 research papers. So I request the chairpersons to take on the session now and introduce the speaker also.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasant privilege to introduce Professor Rajesh Harshvardhan. Professor Harshvardhan is a distinguished medical professional with qualifications including MBBS, MD in Hospital Administration from All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, DNB, MPH, LLB, PhD, amongst others. Currently, he heads the hospital administration and is the additional medical superintendent at Apex Trauma Center, Sanjay Gandhi Postgraduate Institute of Medical Sciences, Lucknow. He also serves as Sub-Dean Quality at SGPGIMS, Joint Director of the State Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization, UP, and Associate Director of UPCRAM. Formerly, he was the Medical Superintendent and Executive Registrar at Kalam Centre Super Speciality Cancer Institute, Lucknow. Professor Harshvardhan has authored several books, nearly 100 scientific publications, and recognized by various government bodies. His leadership significantly advances healthcare, administration, and medical education in the state. Today, he'll enlighten us on enhancing visibility, why and how. I welcome you, Professor Harshvardhan.
Exactly. What do I say? Good afternoon or good evening, I don't know. I have been since the point in time I have been here. Speakers are sharing their knowledge, expertise, experience, orientation, everything. And the other side is completely silent. So I would like to involve or engage you people. I mean, though it has thinned out pretty much, still I would like to know the profile of the audience, who I am supposed to talk to. May I know a bit about the rear rows. When I need to modulate my presentation, which probably suits your current understanding, because topic is quite de novo, quite anew, quite afresh. It's something not a run of the mill. So I need to understand who I'm talking to. Okay. The topic I have been given to delve into is enhancing visibility. How and why. And the context is sort of the canvas where you have got a range of medical institutions across the country, maybe across the globe, and what all you are supposed to do in order to stand out in the crowd, in order to be recognized, in order to be reputed or considered reputed. And here is how I propose to go. I'll try to give you a very, very succinct, very quick, very brief summary as to from where the concept is stemmed out. Thereafter, I will delve in. I'll give you one example of one of the way to rank institutions in our country to begin with. Before I come to what is the need, and then I'll dissect, I'll try to understand the way as on date it is being assessed before I switch on to where is the need and how can we attain. This is the policy document NHP 2017, wherein government very clearly mentioned that the aim is to strengthen and prioritize the role of government in shaping health systems in all its dimensions. And courtesy that, I'm standing here behind this podium in front of you, wherein a decade back, not more than that, or maybe a little more than that, quality per se, no one would like to have this word to consume their time. Today, I can see the spectrum of the specialty who have conversed over here to spare and have spared their time to understand the context, the pretext, and the foreground and the background, and how and what they can do to stand out along the entire range of the healthcare institutions in the country or maybe beyond. Subsequently, the New India Document 2022, which has given a broad roadmap for every vertical or sector of the country, including healthcare industry, as to how and in which way we can stand out or stand tall. And by virtue of those two policy documents, the quality has become sort of priority before the government, and it was more so, much more so in the Western world prior to its advent in India on the surface. And only because of this, today you people have organized this program. Now let us look at it. What is it? And where's the need? And then we'll come to how to bridge the gap. Why perception? To ascertain employers' preference for graduates of different institutions for studies or employment. It reflects on a public image of an institution and it's undertaken through a survey of employers, professionals from reputed organizations, and large category of academicians or academics. Let us look at an analysis of the previous couple of years peer perception score of NIRF under MHRD and how it correlates with the sub-parameters of the NIRF. Those who are conversed with these terminologies will understand it well. That's why I asked ab initio as to who the audiences are in front of me. Perception score or peer perception or visibility factor has a positive, rather linear correlation with the total score. What does it mean? It means that if you are doing well in your core dimensions and collateral dimensions, eventually you will be perceived, recognized, and will become visible, which Sally Madam was probably telling in one of her slides. She showed that how research contribution makes you more visible. It is assumed that to have good total score, the universities should have a focus on improving their public image, which is reflected through peer perception and ranking parameters. If you analyze the data of any ranking body over the course of preceding few years, you will come to know that most institutions perform reasonably well in the parameters that pertain to teaching, learning, resources, graduate outcomes, outreach, and/or inclusivity. However, a considerable improvement is required in two matrix: the research and professional practice, and perception both. And perception is part that I am supposed to deal in detail or discuss in detail with you today right now. Because of the rapid development in the field of medical education, medical institutions, students, quantity always directs quality. Therein lies the importance that why we need to focus on quality, more so now rather than before. If you look at the results of 2019 NRF, AIMS attained top position where it attained the score of 100, which was followed by CMC Vellore, which scored 92.74. Even we at SDPGMS, we are ranked 4, 5, 6, something like that in the last many years since the NRF has introduced the medical vertical. Why we are losing out on the ranking is only because of peer perception. Otherwise, on many verticals, we've scored better than AIMS. AIMS is scoring 100% in peer perception, whereas we are scoring less than 50%. You can see in the next line that 23 out of 30 medical schools secured less than 15 peer. And that's why they lag behind. Therein lies the need for this topic, this priority area, this thrust area, as to how can we, what all we are supposed to do to make sure that our visibility is felt or we are perceived, recognized better. At times you are doing better, and that's being proven by the fact that you are doing good. I mean, if I give an example of, because we did a comparative study with AIMS, PHND, and SDPGMS. Along all the core verticals and core criteria, we didn't score poor. Rather, on a couple of criteria or domain or subdomain, we did score better than AIMS. But we lost significantly because of this specific segment, peer perception, when AIMS used to score 100% almost every year, and we tend to score much less than 50%, less than 50 marks out of 100. And therein lies the need for this topic that they have chosen very, very reasonably so. Likewise, there's analysis available as to how your performance in, say, for example, research or innovation, patient care, and in what way it's going to correlate with your peer perception. So you have to excel first in your primary domain, and then you have to make your excellence known to others so that you are able to be recognized by the methodology they use to score you under the vertical of peer perception. Apparently, this professional practice, I mean, your core domain, that is patient care or healthcare delivery, and the peer perception score have the most deviation from the total score. It implies that practice of collecting various key stakeholders' perception and utilizing them to improve the quality of education is much limited. That's why this taught. Universities having a good RP also have a good perception, rather should have. One of the study indicated that two parameters influencing the ranking were the most: research and professional practice, that is your healthcare delivery part, and the perception that we are supposed to deal with today. Deduction or inference: institutions aspiring for good rank at the NRF or by any other accrediting body or ranking agency, they must pay more attention to these parameters along with the other parameters, which obviously are their primary or core domain. Now I will take you through a brief sojourn of NRF for those who are not aware of its terminology, and those who know the part of the IQS, they must be knowing abreast of it, everything as to how it goes about. It was approved by MHRD in September 15 and has got 5 primary domain: teaching, learning and resources, research and professional practices, graduation outcomes, outreach and inclusivity, and the peer perception. It was launched in 2016, conceptualized in 15. The preceding events were Government of India convened meeting of chief secretaries, and NITI Aayog also gave us input. And today, we have got 13 categories under which NIRF does ranking of the institutions all across the country. And we can see over in here that gradually the participation is increasing. So the quality consciousness in medical education or healthcare delivery as such is gradually increasing over the course of last 5, 7 or so years. These are the NF parameters, which I will not go into detail. What I want to make you understand that you look at the heavy parameters which have got more marks or more marks than assigned to them. You look at the research and professional practice as 12, whereas rest of all other parameters have less than 10, and 10 is for the peer perception. That's why it becomes very important for you to make sure that whatever you do is being reflected in the peer group, and there are verticals of it as well. So there are 4 verticals of it. Your visibility is looked at or assessed or decided or perceived by your assessors along these 4 verticals through the employers and research investors, those who are going to fund you. Your academic peers, they have got all the bodies. They usually have got a pool of assessors who rank the institutions as per their subjective perception, which is built on over the course of years through various work that you are doing along the teaching, training, research, patient care domains. Third is public perception. It's very, very, very risky. And AIMS has got sort of such a brand value that it's known all across the length and breadth of the country, along entire spectrum, east to west and north to south. That's why they always score in centum in peer perception, and that gives them that position of numero uno in almost all ranking assessments. Whereas other institutions who are doing well in a couple of domains better than AIMS, they are not able to, have not been able to make their presence felt in the peninsular part of India. And the advantage that AIMS gets is by virtue of being national capital, that advantage probably somehow or the other percolates to its perception all across the country. And that's why it fetches 100 marks every year unfailingly. And last is competitiveness. They have different ways and means. They have got a defined methodology as to how they have come to, or how will they assign, give marks for these 4 subdomains of peer perception. For want of time, I will not delve into detail, but you must know that there are 4 core verticals from which they draw their authority to rank you under the vertical of peer perception. Now come to the core topic, after having this foreground or prelude, enhancing visibility. How to strategize for this? Attracting talent, collaboration opportunities, and increased funding and resources. That's very important because research part is heavily built in all the yardstick of ranking or assessment, and that they don't ask for from you. They have their own way, or they have their own system to dig it out by different advanced softwares. A strong reputation and visibility in national and international rankings attract highly qualified individuals, enriching the academic environment and fostering research collaboration. It's like a two-way system. You attract talent, they make you more visible. You become more visible, you attract more talent. Increased visibility leads to more opportunities for collaboration with leading healthcare institutions, research organizations, industry partners. This can result in joint research projects. Even the funding agencies or investors, they also have sort of halo effect. They are also sort of occupied with the prior scoring, ranking, performance, perception from the couple of top institutions. Even when, if it comes to you, say for example, 100 list of 100 medical colleges, you will not be able to spare as much of time to go and do a sort of review of literature and then rank them when they ask for it from you only, while doing the peer perception part and scoring for that applicant institutions marked. And you reflexively choose those names which you are very familiar with. The same thing happens with the investors or funders or funding agencies. There are also sort of some halo effect, and they, even if there's a very brilliant idea or brilliant research proposal from some innocuous unknown university, it usually is not noticed. And if you look at the way the funds percolate to the institutions based on their perception, peer perception, or the reputation in the market, or in the public, or the government at large. A higher ranking institution with strong peer perception is more likely to attract funding from government agencies, philanthropic organizations, and industry partners. This allows the institution to invest in new facilities, research initiatives, and faculty development programs. So it is it works both ways. You do good, get noticed, it helps you become even better. And if there are silos or islands of excellence, they remain unnoticed somehow. That's the fallacy of the system. Perception is half the battle. Most often, you as a teacher or faculty, while teaching in class, the student who has given you a very brilliant remark or observation or response to your question, you become sort of, yeah, doing is good. And the next time, that impact remains in your assessment of your next response. It's a very common observation. So that's why it's known. Scholars said, or we believe that perception is half the battle. So let us look at how to enhance visibility. We never used to think of even quality, leave alone the visibility, more so specifically in the government sector. We think that we have to do our work, funds will come on its own. No longer it's going to be so. Probably last year, Dr. Arvind is here, government of UP itself, Department of Medical Education, has designed a system of performance measurement of medical institutions based on which they will grant budget. We were part of the team. So even a state like UP and the government of UP and Department of Medical Education is not going to give you funds solely by virtue of the fact that you are a government institution. They are also going to now look at how you are performing. So it's also important from that perspective. Otherwise, even at PGI, we have borrowed loan, heavy loan, to sustain or to improve or to innovate or to progress. So it is good that today here we have assembled, however thin and far and wide. At least it has become a sort of sub-priority, if not the main priority, that we need to look at the quality dimension of healthcare delivery in general, and in particular, whatever we are doing, how it's being projected to the world so that we are perceived that way, the way we are doing or we are performing. So we ought to have targeted communications, strategic partnership, we have thought leadership, that IQAC team that you're over here, and Dean Quality you have, Dean Quality and Planning, sir, and alumni engagement. I mean, in fact, this domain is still building. We don't have very much prescription available, or we don't have prescriptive directions to execute. It's the state of evolution. As the good institutions of high order, higher ranking, they're doing their own work at their own place, and they gradually, probably, they will culminate into become a sort of prescriptive direction as to how to and what to do in order to score better so far as visibility or perception is concerned. Couple of interventions could be start building communication. Government institutions in general, medical institutions in particular, they work in silo. Very closed fraternity, very closed mentality. We ought to communicate outside our primary domain, which Dr. Sethi was also telling, without diluting our primary commitment. Building a milestone campaign. Whenever you achieve something significant in terms of institutional achievement, departmental achievement, or individual achievement, whatever it be, you design sort of, in an incremental fashion, that as an institution, as a department, as a service, what all you are supposed to achieve, and then you start achieving those milestones and start spreading it to your world or the relevant stakeholders. Engaging in philanthropy activities helps you in that fourth vertical, public perception. Student employee welfare initiatives to attract or retain talent. Internationalization. I'll come to this little later. Feedback and continuous improvement, because there's no full stop on road to improvement or perfection. You can always improve. You can always be a better version than what you were yesterday, as on today. Few value additions. We have to be very specific as to what all is to be done so far as the student domain is concerned, And there could be many such things. Or what ought to be done by faculty? Seminar, workshop, webinar, online presence, active participation, faculty exchange programs, networking, outreach activities. Likewise, how institute will make its presence felt among its peers, prospective employers, or prospective students even. You need to build industry connections. You have to enhance student support. These are not formally in place in medical institutions per se. They are in place in IITs in a very structured way. Even IIMs I have been to. But in I have come from AIMS. I am an AIMSonian, but I have not seen it that structural way at AIMS even. Not to maybe they may be having it now, but it's not there. Nowadays, I mean, when Dr. Garg was talking about chat GPT or AI or discriminative or generative intelligence, things are rapidly changing. Even when we were in medical school and how things have, even Dr. Sethi told, or someone told that we are carrying lakh to lakh worth mobile in hand and everything is converged on the mobile. So in next 10 years, there will be a phenomenal change, which you probably may not be able to conceive right now, imagine or visualize right now. So we ought to change in tunes with time. And we have to, very well said by Dr. Garg, that otherwise we will be left out of this stream. We will be pushed out of the stream. Institutions have to put in all possible means to ensure their supra-optimal online presence in every possible way. Whichever way you look at, I mean, go and look at your website. That's the first interface. Those who are not coming to you in person. Content strategy. People, I mean, even I see at my place, letters come from the website committee and you just draft content and give. No, I mean, what content you're going to give in which way is going to impact the perception of the who is going to hit your website. It's not being thoughtful from that perspective because you have thousand things to do. So you just do it this one part and goes on and upload on the website. And that takes a beating on your perception because all the ranking agencies or ranking bodies, they also browse your website to understand who you are. And how careful, how insightful, how pragmatic, how futuristic we are when we design content or draft content for our website. Say, for example, anyone from you, the audience? How professional are we? Recently, AIMS has outsourced this task and they have put a professional body to take care of all those things. Because I still feel that having faculty pulled in from different specialties, super specialties, subspecialties is not the solution. We need a dedicated team to work for it. Faculty can give them cortical guidance. But the core work ought to be done by someone whose primary obligation is this. Someone running from OT, running from OPD, running from ICU, some other thing. And suddenly I'm coming to IQSC meeting and starting discussing about something which they don't think once they move out the room. That's not the way forward to enhance your visibility. Apart from entire range of prescriptions that I have in my presentation, the first thing I would say you, please go ahead for as a professional team, hire trained graduates or postgraduates, and you people just become an overarching umbrella to guide them towards the institute's broader vision, ethos, and culture, and let them work for it. Otherwise, you are not going to sustain. The same way, I mean, there's something beautiful about AIMS or IIT or IIM. That's why they are known for their, I mean, the brand they have made themselves of. I'm just, while talking to you, I reminded myself of that fact that AIMS has got professional bodies to look for the CSR cell. Professionals for the CSR cell. We don't have. कोई faculty को इंचार्ज बना दिया आपने, आपका FO है, कोई FC है. That's not the way to do. That's not the way to go. So, who is looking after your website? Must be some faculty. Obviously, that's not the way to do it. That's the only prescription I want to give to this thin audience, that first of all, we need to have a very dedicated professional team under the guidance of obviously institute faculty and the institute administration. Then only we can think of competing with them. We can think of walking shoulder to shoulder with them, those who are probably maybe number one in their respective verticals, be it engineering or medical or whatever. Leveraging faculty engagement, showcase your research that is being done well by at least medical institutions. But still, the patent is one domain where we lose marks. Most of us lose marks, including AIMS. I've seen their marks. They don't have much patent to their credit. But you look at the other institutions like engineering IITs, there are plenty of patents unto them. So we need to look at the gaps which we can bridge in. Otherwise, research part, medical students doing well. And you have to foster institutional reputation by public relation, brand, whatever PROs do really, they in fact dilute our reputation, the way they behave. If you do a study of your PROs in the King George, do a study. They're building reputation or they're diluting it. Sorry, just try to do it. Just go for it. You're sincere IQAC team. They are building reputation or they're diluting it. I'm telling you. So why it's happening? Because we have never focused on it from that perspective. We have never looked at it from that frame of reference. We never have had that way to look at, that different way to look at the same thing from a different angle. Alumni relations is still very weak. In medical institutions, the degree of alumni connect is there in the IITs or IIMs, we don't have still. Neither at AIMS or PGI or CMC or SDPG or wherever. Whosoever walk out, they are in their own silo, they forget their alma mater. You keep on hammering them through your website or email or alma sign or whatever. You hardly get any response, leave alone the contributions in terms of cash or kind. But look at the alumni. Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, Parag Agrawal, Leena Nair, Shantanu Narayan, Aravind Krishna, Sanjay Mehrotra, Nikesh Arora. They don't abandon their alma mater. Therein lies the difference. They advocate, yeah? Yeah. They contribute, they plow back, they refuel, they recharge it. Whichever way they can, they hold hand. The network of IIT is very strong. Even in the IES cadre, those who have IITian turned IES, within IES cadre, they have a separate group of IITian turned IES. Even after having been to the service, they still don't forget that we were IITs at point in time. That degree of bonhomie is not there in the medical institution, and it is there up to UG level. But thereafter, it plummets somehow or the other because everybody's self-interest and everybody wrapped up in their own self and own career, individual career. Since the topic is that, so I have to be, a bit of, ruthlessly brazen. Engaging with peer institutions. Recently, we had a meeting in the Rajbhavan when ambassadors from 15 countries came. I think probably your team must have been there. We kept on trying to communicate with them, but the area chosen was not akin to the healthcare institutions. Despite best of efforts, I kept on communicating with them all through from all the 15 countries, all across 15 countries. But we couldn't break through because it was in no way reaching even to our peripheral domains, leave alone the core domains. So I don't know how it was designed or conceptualized, but at least an effort was made. In fact, our government recently, probably 2023, they have given the granted reciprocal recognition of degrees, UK and India, after 1978. It was not recognized. Bilateral is not there. Likewise, in the government service, you cannot appoint someone having that degree of expertise, knowledge, experience. We can't do that. And then we are asked to run the race. So I wrote back to day before, I must have come to your institution also. Later came from Governor House that you have to give suggestion for those couple of, I have written to them. We need to be given that free hand to borrow talent rather than restrain ourselves in a bureaucratic web. Then you ask us to perform, you tie our hand and tell dance. How do you do that? You can't do that. Continuous monitoring obviously is the key. Last segment, last leg. Let us peep in NRF 2023. Sorry. Look at the scores of AIMS. Last one. There will be deficient. That's where you people have chosen this topic probably. And we took many initiatives for that. We took many initiatives to build that rapport, made our presence felt. We revamped our website. We started talking to all medical of the country. We are doing that, but still have a long way to go because we have woke up late from that perspective. Look at the IIT Madras. Please, last Pierre. So why are we lagging? Because it's not that we are incompetent or we are not doing well, because we never looked at it from that perspective. हमने इस विषय को उस नजरिए से कभी देखा ही नहीं. Obviously, अब देखा तो एफर्ट नहीं किया हमने. एफर्ट इज आउटपुट कहाँ से आएगा? But for something जो मैंने फर्स्ट स्लाइड में था, my opening slide was quote, unless you start thinking about something, action is a consequence of thought. Thought precedes action. And thought without action is abortion. आप सोच के रह गए, डॉक्टर ऋषि ने कहा, आइडिया लेके बैठे हुए, एग्जीक्यूट ही नहीं किया, यूजलेस. द रोड अहेड, प्लीज मेक स्ट्रेटेजिक अप्रोच. कंटेंट आप देखिए अपना, जिसको आप डिसेमिनेट कर रहे हैं पब्लिक में, एंड डू मेजर योर सक्सेस एंड सेट योर बेंचमार्क्स. Improving perception or peer perception or achieving a top rank by any agency calls for, if you try today, you will harbor the benefits or you reap the fruits 5, 7, 10 years from now. For that, you ought to start thinking now. Your time starts now. You have to have a team of professionals supervised by faculty under the institute administration. Then you design. How do we design? How do we write our vision statement? Have you seen that? 4 फैकल्टी दौड़ दौड़ अपनी जगह से आ रही है और बैठ के ठीक है डिवीजन ये होगा, मिशन ये होगा. ऐसे थोड़ी काम होता है. दैट्स नॉट द वे टू डू. आई एम सॉरी, दैट्स द वे इट्स हैपनिंग. आई एम ऑब्जर्विंग, आई एम विटनेसिंग इट ऑल. You have to completely focus the way you focus on your primary specialty, and that you can't do because that's not what you're here for. You have to have a team of professionals who are trained in data analytics, who are trained in these domains, who have हमने जो निकाला बनाया टेंडर अपने वैसे ही बनाया है. So that we are also doing the same thing. We're going to hire people who are expert in this. We have designed their qualifications, experience in the same way, so that they come and this is it would be their primary task. So gradually we think we will be able to scale heights along entire parameters of assessment, be it any agency, either national or international. Thank you for your attention. So I'm sorry if I bored you. I tried my best to work you up. Okay, but the cause, not from the need. कि ये जो बिंदु है, ये भी एक महत्वपूर्ण बिंदु है. I will appreciate your feedback, if any. Thank you very much for listening to me.
I just have 1 or 2 words, sir. I just need to say. Thank you so much, Dr. Harsvardhan, for an enlightening talk. You have given us a lot of food for thought. Need to reflect, identify our shortfalls or shortcomings, and we do need to bridge the gap to increase our NERF ranking, and we do have a long way to go. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I could see you were speaking from your heart. And yes, and the audience is thin here, but I can see there are 80 online participants. So it's overall, it's it's reasonable. Saturday evening, and all those adverse effects.
One of my teachers told that even if there's empty hall and you have given time to deliver talk, you deliver talk to empty hall.
Okay. But we do have, online participants as well. So without wasting further time, I'll request the chairpersons to felicitate the speaker, Dr. Harsvardhan, and extra thanks to you for, allowing us to, tweak the program a bit.
That way I listened to him and I would have moved out. Very good talk.
Very good talk. Yes, yes. So Rishi is one of the very good speakers that we have in our university. Yes. And I'll request Dr. Shalini again, she's the person who's sitting right in front and can do this to felicitate both the chairpersons, because it's a Saturday evening now And we really appreciate that you are sitting here and listening. So for the next session,